We came together as a staff and recognized just how long and crazy and difficult this year has been for a lot of people. And yet, in spite of that, we still adore him, we still worship him, we still recognize the power and the work that he's doing in the world around us. We love him and he's still moving in our lives and our communities, and we see that. And all that said, we just wanted to take a moment to recognize some of the ways that God has been moving and working in our lives and in our ministries throughout this past year.
For me, 2020 has been, I guess I would say, a year of stretching, certainly stretching in ministry, stretching us beyond doing things how we're used to doing them. How do we minister to people? How do we do church in a time of COVID? How do we care for people and minister to people when we can't see them, when we can't touch them or visit them? How do we do all these things differently than the way we've always done them? So God really stretched us to think creatively, to be inventive and see how we could continue to minister to people during this season. But he's also stretched us personally in our home. He stretched us as a family and as individuals. 2020 has offered up quite the buffet of intense topics this year, topics that tend to be passionate and polarizing in people's opinions. But he has helped us. We've worked together really as a family to kind of seek God in every issue that 2020 offered up and see where God landed and where he wanted us to land as a family unit. He stretched us to think of him kind of beyond the traditional labels and traditional stereotypes to really seek his heart. And what we've discovered in this stretching is that God is so central in his love for us, but also so diverse in the ways that he leads us to share that love.
I think in 2020, one of the greatest blessings that we have had in my personal life and also here at PoC is that God has given us a real challenge to make sure that we are regarding other people better than ourselves. Philippians 2 gives us that encouragement. And I think that God really challenged us. And I think it's a challenge that is turning into quite a blessing, where we are having to decide, how do we feel about those who are close to us, who agree the way that we do, but also how do we feel about people who don't agree with us? They have different sensibilities, different beliefs, and they're not even easy to get along with. I think God has given us a real opportunity to look at everyone and decide that we are going to be people who are filled with the Holy Spirit, who regard other people well.
Been an interesting year for sure, but actually in all of our ministries, in the kids ministry, teen ministry, and our pregame young adult ministry, we've seen growth. We've got new kids coming, we've got new teenagers coming, lots of diversity, and it's been awesome. And so even with 2020, with kids not being there and having to be online and having to kind of go to smaller groups and stuff like that, we've still seen a lot of tremendous growth. And so God has been extremely good to us there. And then personally, 2020 showed up, and I've been working at home since March, and so it's almost been 9 months of working at home, but it's given me time to reflect, hang out with my family more, do lunch with my kids because they've been home for school. And so it's actually been really good to be able to just get together and slow down. And so God was able to talk to me through it, kind of gave me some silence and some time. And so God has really been challenging me and shaping me and growing me through this 2020 season.
COVID has rocked our world quite a bit, but God has been blessing. Who would have thought that we would have launched a church in the middle of a pandemic? But God knew, and He has so faithfully blessed us. We have new families that are growing closer to God, and we have enjoyed intimate fellowship together, even though we were socially distant. It has been wonderful, and God has blessed it. God has blessed my family. My husband and I were so thankful that we got an opportunity I got to work from home, and he kept his job. I know so many people lost their jobs, but we were blessed by God, and we got to keep our jobs. And so financially, God has sustained us through this pandemic, and he is continuing to bless us in so many ways, and we are so thankful for all that God is doing.
God is still growing us. He's moving in big ways in Bloomington and in Mahomet, and we get to see it and experience it, and it is just so awesome. In addition to the launch of the Mahomet campus this year, we've also grown online. Because of the pandemic, we saw a need to start live streaming, and we've been able to interact with people that may never be able to set foot in any of our physical campus locations, and yet they're still hearing His Word, and they're engaging in worship, and they're interacting with other believers in fellowship in this online way, and that is just so cool. My family has also been incredibly blessed this year. We've had some job changes, and we moved into a house that is just awesome for us. And we have just been able to spend so much time together this year. We're very, very excited about what God's got next for us. Friends, we love you. We are so proud of you. We're so excited to be a part of this church family and this community that we all get to serve. And so just to summarize, 2020, we choose to adore Him. There's so much that is so great about our God that we choose to adore Him in spite of difficulty. And 2021, we will continue to do the same. We're going to continue to choose to adore our God because we know whatever comes next, He is in control. Merry Christmas, PoC.